The boardroom on the 42nd floor smells of leather, ambition, and the faint metallic edge of fear. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting sharp shadows across the mahogany table where 12 executives sit frozen, their faces pale as marble. At the head of the table, Victoria Chen lies motionless on the polished floor. Her charcoal suit is rumpled, one Louboutin heel kicked off in the fall. The presentation clicker rests inches from her limp fingers. She had been mid-sentence discussing fourth-quarter projections when her words simply stopped. Her eyes rolled back, and she collapsed like someone had cut her strings. "Call 911, someone shouts. "Is she breathing? Victoria, can you hear me?" Panic spreads like wildfire. A junior executive fumbles with his phone, hands shaking so badly he drops it twice. The CFO loosens his tie, looking like he might pass out himself. Nobody moves toward her. They stand in a useless circle, expensive watches glinting under the fluorescent lights, utterly helpless. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. 3 floors below, in a maintenance closet that smells of pine cleaner and old mop water, Marcus Rivera empties a bucket into the industrial sink. He's 41 years old, broad-shouldered despite the exhaustion carved into his face. His Navy janitor's uniform is worn soft from countless washes, his work boots scuffed beyond recognition. Marcus works the overnight shift, 6 nights a week, cleaning office buildings across downtown Seattle. But today he stayed late to cover for Danny, whose daughter had a soccer game. Marcus doesn't mind. He never minds. Extra hours mean extra money, and extra money means his son Leo gets the tutoring he needs, the asthma medication that insurance barely covers, the life Marcus is determined to give him despite everything. He rinses the bucket, lost in thought. Leo's teacher had called yesterday. "Your son is brilliant, Mr. Rivera. Have you thought about applying for gifted programs?" Marcus had smiled, pride swelling in his chest even as reality squeezed it tight. Gifted programs cost money. Everything costs money. The radio clipped to his belt crackles to life. "Marcus, you there?" It's Betty, the security guard on the main desk. "Yeah, what's up?" "Need you on 42, medical emergency. They're screaming for anyone who knows first aid." Marcus's heart kicks into gear. He drops the bucket and runs. The stairwell echoes with his footsteps. His mind races faster. Medical emergency. He hasn't practiced CPR in years, not since his time as an EMT, not since before everything fell apart. But muscle memory doesn't forget. Hands remember what the mind tries to bury. He bursts through the stairwell door onto the 42nd floor, lungs burning. The boardroom is at the end of the hall, glass walls revealing the chaos inside. Marcus pushes through the heavy door. "Who are you?" A man in a $3,000 suit steps in front of him, blocking his path. "Maintenance. Someone called for help. We need a doctor, not a—" "Move." Marcus's voice cuts like steel. Something in his eyes makes the man step aside. Marcus drops to his knees beside Victoria Chen. He's seen her before, of course. Everyone in the building has. She's the CEO of Chen Technologies, the woman whose face appears in Forbes and Fortune, who built a billion-dollar empire from a college dorm room, but right now she's just a person who isn't breathing. He checks her pulse. Faint, thready. Her lips are turning blue. "How long has she been down?" Marcus asks, already tilting her head back, checking her airway. "Maybe 2 minutes," someone offers weakly. "Ambulance?" "On the way, 10 minutes out." 10 minutes. Marcus positions his hands on her sternum, interlocking his fingers. He learned CPR in the Marines, refined it during his 3 years as an EMT before Leo was born. Before life demanded he choose between passion and survival. He begins compressions, hard and fast, exactly like the training drilled into him. 1, 2, 3. The boardroom falls silent except for the rhythmic sound of his efforts and the broken gasps of executives watching. 15 compressions. He tilts her head, lifts her chin, and breathes into her mouth. Her chest rises. He goes back to compressions. Someone whispers, "Is this working?" Marcus ignores them. He's somewhere else now, locked into a zone where nothing exists except this moment, this person, this chance. Sweat beads on his forehead, his shoulders burn, but he doesn't stop. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. It's during the second round that he notices it. Victoria's blouse has shifted during the compressions, revealing the edge of her collarbone. And there, just below it, hidden beneath expensive fabric and the armor of her professional persona, is a tattoo. Small, delicate, black ink forming 3 letters, LMC. Marcus's hands freeze mid-compression. LMC. Leah Marie Carter, his daughter's name, the daughter he lost 8 years ago to leukemia, the daughter whose smile he still sees every time he closes his eyes, the daughter whose initials he carries tattooed in the exact same place, hidden beneath his work uniform. The world tilts. "Don't stop," someone yells. Marcus snaps back. He resumes compressions, but his mind is spinning. What are the odds? What does this mean? Is the universe playing some cruel joke, or is this something else entirely? Victoria's chest convulses. She coughs, violent and wet, her body jerking as her lungs drag in air. Her eyes flutter open, unfocused and terrified. The room erupts. "She's breathing! Oh my God! You did it!" Marcus sits back on his heels, chest heaving. Victoria's gaze finds his confusion swimming in her dark eyes. She opens her mouth, trying to speak, but only a rasp comes out. "Don't talk," Marcus says gently. "Ambulance is coming. You're going to be okay." She nods weakly, and for just a second her hand moves to her collarbone, fingers brushing the exact spot where her tattoo hides. It's an unconscious gesture, protective, like she knows he saw something he shouldn't have. Their eyes meet again. Something unspoken passes between them, recognition maybe, or just the strange intimacy that exists between someone who saves a life and someone whose life was saved. The paramedics arrive 7 minutes later, rushing in with equipment and authority. They stabilize Victoria, load her onto a stretcher, ask Marcus a dozen questions about what he did, how long she was down, her condition when he found her. "You saved her life," the lead paramedic says, clapping Marcus on the shoulder. "Good work." Then they're gone, wheeling Victoria toward the elevator, leaving behind a boardroom full of shaken executives and one janitor standing alone in the middle of it all. The CFO approaches, extending his hand. "I don't know who you are, but thank you. Truly." Marcus shakes his hand. "Just doing what needed to be done." "What's your name?" "Marcus Rivera." "Well, Mr. Rivera, I'm certain Ms. Chen will want to thank you personally." The man pulls out a business card, scribbles something on the back. "This is my direct line. Please call me tomorrow." Marcus takes the card, nods, and leaves. Nobody stops him. Nobody asks him to stay. He's invisible again, the way janitors always are. He takes the stairs back down, his legs shaking now that the adrenaline is fading. In the quiet of the stairwell, he stops on the 20th floor landing and leans against the wall. His hand moves to his own chest, pressing against the fabric of his uniform where his tattoo hides. LMC, Leah Marie Carter. His baby girl with the bright eyes and the laugh that sounded like wind chimes. She fought so hard. He fought so hard. But cancer doesn't care about fighting. The medical bills had destroyed him. Even with insurance, even with fundraisers and borrowed money and selling everything they owned, it wasn't enough. By the time Leah died, Marcus had lost his job as an EMT, lost his house, lost his marriage. His wife Rebecca couldn't handle the grief, couldn't look at him without seeing everything they'd failed to save. She left, took Leo, who was only 4 at the time, and moved across the country. It took Marcus 2 years of legal battles, sobriety, and proving he could be stable before he got partial custody. Now Leo lives with him every other week, and those weeks are the only time Marcus feels fully alive. He pulls out his phone and sends a text to Leo. "Love you, buddy. See you Friday." The reply comes instantly. "Love you too, Dad. Mom says you saved someone today." News travels fast. Marcus smiles despite everything. Just did my job. You're a hero. Marcus closes his eyes. He doesn't feel like a hero. He feels like a man who lost everything, who works overnight shifts mopping floors, who lives in a tiny apartment because that's all he can afford. But if Leo thinks he's a hero, maybe that's enough. He pockets his phone and heads back to work. There are still 3 floors to clean before sunrise. At Swedish Medical Center, Victoria Chen lies in a private room surrounded by machines that beep and hum. She's awake now, coherent, but her chest aches and her throat feels like sandpaper. Dr. Patel stands at her bedside reviewing charts. You had a sudden cardiac event, likely stress-induced, combined with an underlying arrhythmia we didn't know about. You're lucky that Janitor knew what he was doing. Marcus, Victoria whispers. Her voice is barely there. Sorry? His name is Marcus Rivera. Dr. Patel nods. Well, Mr. Rivera saved your life. If he hadn't started CPR immediately, we'd be having a very different conversation. Victoria stares at the ceiling. Marcus Rivera, a janitor who moves through her building like a ghost, unnoticed by people like her who live in corner offices and board meetings. A man whose hands brought her back from the edge. A man who saw her tattoo. Her fingers move to her collarbone again, that protective instinct she can't shake. The tattoo is her deepest secret, the wound she never shows the world. LMC, Lucas Michael Chen, her son, the son she gave up for adoption when she was 17, broke and terrified. She built an empire to fill the hole he left. Worked 90-hour weeks, conquered every challenge, became the youngest female CEO in her industry. But none of it mattered. None of it brought him back. And now, at 43, she has everything except the one thing that matters. Her phone buzzes, 47 missed calls, 73 texts. Her assistant, her board members, her investors, all demanding to know if she's okay, if the company is okay, if the stock will tank. Victoria turns the phone face down. For the first time in 26 years, she doesn't care about any of it. All she can think about is the look in Marcus Rivera's eyes when he saw her tattoo, the way his hands froze just for a heartbeat, the way he looked at her afterward like he understood something no one else could. Who is he? And why does she feel like their lives just collided for a reason neither of them understands yet? Marcus finishes his shift at 6 in the morning. The city is waking up, coffee shops opening, early commuters flooding the sidewalks. He walks to the bus stop, exhaustion settling into his bones. His phone rings. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Rivera, this is James Kwan, CFO of Chen Technologies. We spoke yesterday. Marcus's stomach tightens. Yes, sir. Ms. Chen is recovering well, thanks to you. She's asked to meet with you. Would you be available this afternoon? Say 2 o'clock at the hospital? Marcus thinks of his schedule. He needs to sleep. He needs to pick up Leo's prescription. He needs to figure out how to pay the electric bill that's overdue. But something in him, something he can't explain, says yes. I'll be there, Marcus says. Excellent. I'll text you the room number. The call ends. Marcus stands at the bus stop, watching the city move around him, and wonders what he's just agreed to. And somewhere across town, in a hospital room that smells of antiseptic and second chances, Victoria Chen stares out the window and wonders the same thing. Marcus arrives at Swedish Medical Center at 1:45, wearing the only clean shirt he owns that isn't his work uniform. It's a simple navy button-down, wrinkled despite his best efforts with an iron that barely works. His jeans are clean but faded. His shoes the same scuffed work boots because he doesn't own dress shoes anymore. He sold those years ago, along with everything else. The hospital lobby is all polished marble and hushed voices. Marcus feels out of place immediately, like someone will ask him to leave at any moment. But he walks to the information desk, gives his name, and the receptionist smiles warmly. Ms. Chen is expecting you. 6th floor, room 612. The elevator ride feels endless. Marcus's heart pounds against his ribs. He doesn't know why he's nervous. He saved her life. She wants to thank him. That's all this is. But he can't stop thinking about that tattoo. The elevator opens. Marcus follows the signs to room 612. The door is slightly ajar. He knocks gently. Come in. Her voice is stronger than yesterday, but still carries the rasp of someone who fought death and won. Marcus pushes the door open. Victoria Chen sits upright in the hospital bed, wearing a soft gray sweater instead of a hospital gown. Her black hair falls loose around her shoulders, no longer pinned in the severe bun he's seen in passing. Without makeup, without the armor of her business attire, she looks younger, vulnerable, human. Her dark eyes lock onto his, and Marcus feels that same jolt from yesterday. Recognition, connection, something he can't name. "Mr. Rivera," she says softly, "please sit down." There's a chair beside her bed. Marcus sits, suddenly aware of how small he feels in this room, how the world of hospitals and expensive private care is a world he once knew from the other side, standing where the doctors stand, not where he sits now. "How are you feeling?" he asks. "Alive." A faint smile crosses her lips. "Thanks to you. I just did what anyone would do." "No." Victoria's voice sharpens. "What should anyone do? Very few people actually would. Most of my executives stood there frozen while I was dying." Marcus doesn't know what to say to that, so he says nothing. Victoria studies him for a long moment. "You knew exactly what you were doing. The paramedics said your CPR was textbook perfect. Where did you learn?" Here it is, the question Marcus knew would come. "I was an EMT, years ago." "Why did you stop?" The air grows heavy. Marcus looks at his hands calloused and scarred from years of manual labor. "Life happened." Victoria doesn't push. Instead, she reaches for a folder on her bedside table and hands it to him. "My CFO did some research on you. I hope you don't mind." Marcus opens the folder. Inside is a background check. His stomach sinks. They know everything. His time in the Marines, his years as an EMT, the medical debt, the bankruptcy, the custody battle, everything he's spent 8 years trying to leave behind. "I'm sorry," Victoria says quietly. "I needed to know who saved my life." Marcus closes the folder, jaw tight. "So now you know. I'm nobody, just a guy who cleans floors." "You lost your daughter." The words hit like a physical blow. Marcus's throat closes. He can't speak. Victoria's voice drops to barely a whisper. "Leah Marie Carter. She was 6 years old. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia. You sold everything trying to save her." Tears burn Marcus's eyes. He blinks them back furiously. "Why are you doing this?" "Because yesterday, when you were saving my life, you saw something you shouldn't have." Victoria slowly pulls down the collar of her sweater, revealing the tattoo on her collarbone. "And I saw your reaction." Marcus stares at the 3 letters. LMC. "You have the same tattoo," Victoria says. "It's not a question." Slowly, Marcus unbuttons the top of his shirt and pulls it aside. There, in the exact same place, is his tattoo. LMC. The silence stretches between them like a living thing. "How did you know?" Marcus finally asks. "I didn't. Not until I saw the research, but yesterday, when your hands stopped for that split second, I knew you saw mine. And I knew it meant something." Marcus buttons his shirt with shaking fingers. "Your CFO's research didn't tell you what the letters mean for you." "No." Victoria's voice cracks. "That's my secret." "Then why are you showing me?" Victoria looks out the window. Seattle's skyline stretches in the distance, gray and indifferent. "Because for 26 years I've carried this alone. And yesterday, when I woke up and saw your face, I felt something I haven't felt in decades." "What?" She turns back to him, eyes glistening. "Maybe I don't have to be alone anymore." Marcus's chest tightens. He knows that feeling. He's lived with it every day since Leah died, since Rebecca left, since the world became a place he navigated alone, except for the precious weeks when Leo stays with him. Lucas Michael Chen, Victoria whispers. That's what the letters mean. My son, I gave him up for adoption when I was 17. The confession hangs in the air like smoke. Marcus finds his voice. Leah Marie Carter, my daughter, she died 8 years ago. They sit in silence, two strangers bound by 3 letters that mean everything and nothing, that represent love and loss in equal measure. I'm sorry, Victoria says. I'm sorry too. Another silence, but this one feels different, softer, like the first moment after a storm passes and you can finally breathe again. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. Victoria wipes her eyes with the back of her hand, a gesture so unguarded it makes Marcus's heart ache. This isn't the CEO he's seen from a distance. This is just a woman carrying grief she never learned how to put down. Can I ask you something? Victoria says. Yeah. Does it get easier? The grief. Marcus thinks about this carefully. No, but you get stronger at carrying it. Victoria nods slowly, like this answer makes sense in a way nothing else has. I built an entire company trying to fill the hole he left, worked myself into the ground, became someone important, someone successful. I thought if I achieved enough, accomplished enough, maybe it would stop hurting. Did it? No. A bitter laugh escapes her. I just got better at pretending it did. Marcus understands this completely. After Leah died, I stopped being an EMT. Couldn't save my own daughter, couldn't face saving anyone else's. Started taking whatever work I could find. Told myself I was doing it for Leo, my son. But the truth is I was hiding. From what? From feeling anything at all. Victoria meets his eyes. And yesterday? Yesterday I felt everything. Marcus's voice breaks slightly. For the first time in 8 years, I cared whether someone lived or died. And when you opened your eyes, when I knew you were going to make it, I felt something I thought I'd never feel again. What? Hope. The word settles between them like a prayer. Victoria reaches out, hesitates, then places her hand over his. Her skin is soft, warm, alive. Marcus doesn't pull away. Thank you, she whispers, not just for saving my life, for reminding me that I'm still human underneath all this. Marcus gently squeezes her hand. You're welcome. They stay like that for a long moment. The machines beep softly. Outside the window, the city moves on, indifferent to the small miracle happening in room 612. Finally, Victoria withdraws her hand and clears her throat, shifting back into something that resembles her professional self. I want to do something for you. Please, let me help you. Marcus tenses. I don't want your money. I'm not talking about money. Victoria's voice is firm. I'm talking about opportunity. You were an EMT, a good one from what I can see. Why aren't you doing that anymore? Told you. Life happened. That's not an answer. Marcus stands up, pacing to the window. I lost my certification, had to let it lapse during Leah's treatment. Couldn't afford the renewal fees, couldn't afford the continuing education requirements. And after she died, after everything fell apart, I had a record. Bankruptcy, missed payments, no medical facility would hire me. What if I could fix that? Marcus turns to face her. You can't fix everything with money and connections, Ms. Chen. Victoria, please. Victoria. The name feels strange on Marta's tongue. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I've learned to accept my life as it is. I have Leo. I have a job. I have a roof over my head. That's more than a lot of people. Victoria studies him for a long moment. You're lying. Excuse me. You're lying to yourself. I recognize it because I do the same thing. She sits up straighter, wincing slightly. We tell ourselves we're fine, we've accepted things, we've moved on, but we haven't. We're just surviving, not living. Marcus wants to argue, but the words die in his throat because she's right. I have a proposition, Victoria continues. Not charity. A real opportunity. Chen Technologies has an on-site medical team. We need a coordinator, someone who can manage our emergency response protocols, train staff in first aid and CPR, ensure we're compliant with all safety regulations. You're offering me a job? I'm offering you a chance to use your skills again, to do what you were meant to do. Victoria's eyes are intense. The pay is $65,000 a year, full benefits, health insurance that actually covers things, flexible schedule so you can be there for your son. Marcus's head spins. $65,000. That's more than double what he makes now. Health insurance, flexible schedule. It sounds like a dream, which means it can't be real. Why, he asks, why would you do this? Because yesterday you gave me my life back. Let me give you yours. I saved your life. That doesn't mean you owe me anything. Victoria's expression softens. This isn't about debt, Marcus. It's about recognizing worth. You have skills that are wasted mopping floors. I have resources to help you use them again. That's not charity, that's common sense. Marcus thinks about Leo, about the tutoring program he can't afford, about the asthma medications that keep getting more expensive, about the tiny apartment with the leaky ceiling he's been trying to fix himself because he can't afford a real repair. He thinks about Leah, about the promise he made at her grave to never give up, to keep fighting, to give Leo every chance she never got. I need time to think about it, Marcus says finally. Victoria nods. Of course. Take all the time you need. But Marcus? Yeah? You deserve this. You deserve to stop punishing yourself for things that weren't your fault. The words hit deep, finding wounds Marcus didn't know were still open. He leaves the hospital in a daze, Victoria's business card in his pocket, with her personal number written on the back. The afternoon sun is bright, almost mocking in its cheerfulness. Marcus walks to the bus stop, sits on the bench, and puts his head in his hands. His phone buzzes, a text from Leo. Dad, can we get pizza tonight? Please, please, please. Marcus smiles despite everything. Sure, buddy, whatever you want. Yes, sis, you're the best. And I know. Marcus looks at Victoria's business card. $65,000 a year, health insurance, a chance to be an EMT again in a way that doesn't break him. He thinks about Victoria's question, does it get easier? And his answer, no. But you get stronger at carrying it. Maybe it's time to stop just carrying his grief and start building something with it, something that honors Leah's memory by giving Leo the future she never got. Marcus pulls out his phone and types a text to the number on Victoria's card. When do I start? The response comes almost immediately. Monday, 8 a.m. Thank you, Marcus. He stares at the message for a long moment, then adds, Thank you, Victoria. That night, Marcus and Leo sit in their tiny apartment, eating pizza from paper plates. The TV plays some cartoon Leo loves. The ceiling still leaks in the corner, a steady drip into the bucket Marcus has positioned there. But tonight, for the first time in 8 years, Marcus feels something shift inside him, like a door opening, like light creeping into a room that's been dark for too long. Dad, Leo says, tomato sauce on his chin. Yeah, buddy? You seem happy. Marcus looks at his son, 10 years old, his mother's eyes, his father's stubborn determination. The reason Marcus kept breathing when everything in him wanted to stop. I got a new job, Marcus says. Leo's eyes widen. Really? Doing what? Helping people, like I used to. Like when you were an EMT? Something like that. Leo grins, that beautiful gap-toothed smile that makes Marcus's heart hurt in the best way. That's awesome, Dad. Does this mean we can fix the ceiling? Marcus laughs, really laughs, for the first time in months. Yeah, buddy, we can fix the ceiling. They finish their pizza. Marcus tucks Leo into bed, reading from the same worn copy of Harry Potter they've been working through for weeks. Leo falls asleep mid-chapter, his small chest rising and falling with the steady rhythm of childhood dreams. Marcus sits on the edge of the bed for a long time, just watching his son sleep. Then he goes to his own room, to the small drawer where he keeps the things that matter most. Leah's hospital bracelet, her favorite stuffed rabbit, a photo of the four of them together before cancer, before grief, when life was simple and whole. And beneath those, wrapped in tissue paper, the shirt he wore the day she died. He's never washed it. Can't bring himself to erase the last physical traces of her. Marcus touches each item gently, reverently. "I'm going to try again, baby girl," he whispers. "I'm going to try to live instead of just survive. I hope that's okay." The apartment is silent, but somehow in that silence, Marcus feels something like permission. Meanwhile, across the city in a penthouse that overlooks Elliott Bay, Victoria Chen stands at her floor-to-ceiling windows, a cup of tea growing cold in her hands. She'd checked herself out of the hospital against doctor's orders. She needs to be in her own space, needs to think without the beeping machines and the constant interruptions. Her phone has been ringing non-stop, the board demanding answers, investors worried about her health. Her assistant is trying to schedule her return to the office. Victoria has ignored all of it. Instead, she's been thinking about Marcus Rivera, about the way his hands shook when he showed her his tattoo, about the grief that lives in his eyes, familiar as her own reflection, about how for the first time in 26 years, she told someone about Lucas, her son, the baby boy she held for exactly 4 hours before signing the papers that gave him to someone else. She was 17, broke, alone. Her parents had died in a car accident 6 months earlier. She was living in a group home, working 3 part-time jobs, trying to finish high school. When she found out she was pregnant, she knew she had 2 choices: keep the baby and watch him grow up in poverty, probably in the same system that had failed her, or give him a chance at something better. She chose better. She chose heartbreak. The adoption was closed. She never knew his family, never knew where he went, never got to know if he was happy, healthy, loved. Just signed the papers with shaking hands and walked out of the hospital with empty arms and a hole in her chest that never healed. She built Chen Technologies from that hole. Every long night, every risky business decision, every competitor she crushed. It was all fuel from the fire of wanting to prove she could have been enough, that she could have given him a good life if the world had been different, but the world wasn't different. And now she's 43, alone in a penthouse worth $12 million, with everything except the one thing that matters. Victoria touches her tattoo through her sweater. She got it on Lucas's 18th birthday 5 years ago. LMC. Lucas Michael Chen. She doesn't know if he kept the name she gave him or if his adoptive parents changed it. She doesn't know if he's alive or dead, happy or struggling, if he ever thinks about the mother who gave him away. She only knows that she thinks about him every single day. Her laptop sits on the marble counter. Victoria opens it and pulls up Marcus's file again. She's read it a dozen times since yesterday, memorizing the details of his life. Marine, EMT, husband, father, widower, bankruptcy, janitor, but none of those words capture what she saw in his eyes. The strength it takes to keep going when everything says to give up. The love that survives even death. The quiet dignity of a man who has lost everything but refuses to become bitter. Victoria pulls up a new browser window and does something she hasn't allowed herself to do in years. She searches for adoption reunion registries. Her fingers hover over the keyboard. For 26 years, she's told herself it's better not to know. Better to let Lucas live his life without the complication of a birth mother who gave him away. Better to leave the past buried. But meeting Marcus changed something. Seeing his grief, his love for both the daughter he lost and the son he's raising, it cracked something open inside her. Maybe it's not too late. Maybe some doors can be reopened. Maybe some losses can be found again. Victoria types slowly. Lucas Michael Chen. Born March 15, 1999, Seattle, Washington. She hits enter. The search loads. 3 results appear. Victoria's heart stops. One of them could be him, or none of them. Or the information could be outdated, wrong, a dead end, like all the others she's never quite let herself fully pursue. But this time feels different. This time she has a reason to hope that's stronger than her fear. She downloads the forms for initiating contact. She'll fill them out tomorrow. Tonight she just needs to sit with the possibility that maybe, just maybe, the son she gave away might want to know the mother who never stopped loving him. Victoria closes her laptop and walks to the window. The city glitters below, beautiful and cold. Somewhere out there is Marcus, probably putting his son to bed, probably wondering if he made the right choice, accepting her job offer. Somewhere out there, maybe, is Lucas, living his life, unaware that his birth mother is standing in a penthouse, holding her breath, hoping. Victoria places her hand flat against the glass. The surface is cold, unyielding, but beyond it, the lights of the city pulse with 1,000 stories, 1,000 second chances, 1,000 small miracles waiting to unfold. And for the first time in a very long time, Victoria Chen allows herself to believe that maybe one of those miracles might be hers. 3 months pass like a dream Marcus keeps expecting to wake from. The job at Chen Technologies transforms his life in ways he didn't think possible. He coordinates emergency medical protocols, trains staff in CPR, ensures every floor has proper first aid equipment. The work fills something in him that's been hollow for years. Leo thrives. The health insurance covers his asthma medication completely. Marcus enrolled him in the gifted program. They moved to a 2-bedroom apartment with no leaky ceiling, in a neighborhood with good schools and a park where Leo plays soccer every weekend. And Victoria, she returns to work gradually, cutting her hours from 90 a week to 60. They have coffee most mornings in her office, talking about everything and nothing. She asks about Leo's soccer games. He asks about her board meetings. Slowly, carefully, they build something that looks like friendship but feels like more. Neither of them names it. Neither wants to risk breaking whatever fragile thing is growing between them. But on a gray November morning, everything changes. Marcus arrives at work to find the executive floor in chaos. Voices echo from Victoria's office. He shouldn't go closer, but something pulls him forward. Through the glass walls, he sees Victoria facing 3 board members. Their faces are hard, angry. Marcus can't hear the words, but he sees. Victoria's expression crumble. She's holding a piece of paper. Her hands shake. The board members storm out, nearly knocking Marcus over. One of them, a silver-haired man named Richard, stops and looks at Marcus with pure contempt. "This is your fault," Richard hisses. "She was focused before you showed up. Now look at her." Marcus pushes past him into Victoria's office. She's collapsed into her chair, tears streaming down her face. The paper lies on her desk. "Victoria, what happened?" She looks up, eyes red. "They found out about the adoption registry, about Lucas. They think I'm unstable, unfit to lead. They're calling for a vote to remove me as CEO. Marcus's stomach drops. "Because you're searching for your son. Because I'm distracted. Because I'm making the company vulnerable." Victoria's voice breaks. "Richard hired investigators. They found everything. The registry search, my visits to adoption counselors, even my therapy sessions where I talk about Lucas." Marcus kneels beside her chair. "That's illegal. They can't use private medical information. They're not using it publicly. They're using it privately, convincing other board members that I've lost my edge." She wipes her eyes furiously. "And maybe they're right. Maybe I have." "No," Marcus's voice is firm. "You're finally becoming human again. There's a difference." Victoria meets his eyes. "I might lose everything, Marcus. The company I built, my reputation, everything I sacrificed Lucas for in the first place." The irony hits them both simultaneously. She gave up her son to build a better life, and now that life might crumble because she dared to want him back. Marcus takes her hands. "Then let it crumble." "What?" "I've lost everything before, Victoria. I know what it feels like to have life strip away everything you thought defined you. And I can tell you this, you're not the company, you're not the CEO title. You're the woman who had the courage to give her son a better life. You're the woman brave enough to search for him now. That's who you are. Victoria stares at him, something shifting in her expression. I'll support whatever you decide, Marcus continues. But don't let them shame you for wanting your son back. Don't let them win by making you choose between your heart and your career. What if I can't have both? Then choose your heart. It's the only thing that matters. Victoria pulls him into an embrace. They hold each other while the city moves on outside, indifferent to one woman's crisis, one man's quiet revolution. When they finally separate, Victoria's jaw is set with determination. I need to make a call. Can you give me a few minutes? Marcus nods and steps outside. Through the glass, he watches her dial a number, speak intensely for several minutes, then hang up with something like peace settling over her features. 20 minutes later, Victoria emerges. I'm calling a press conference for tomorrow morning. I'm going public with everything. Marcus's eyes widen. Everything? The adoption, Lucas, my search for him, all of it. Victoria's voice is steady now, strong. If they're going to use my humanity against me, I'm going to show the world why being human makes me a better leader, not a weaker one. The next morning, reporters pack the conference room. Cameras flash. Victoria stands at the podium in a navy suit, her tattoo deliberately visible above her collar. 26 years ago, she begins, I gave birth to a son I couldn't keep. I was 17, alone and terrified. I gave him up because I loved him too much to raise him in poverty. The room falls completely silent. I built this company from that grief, but recently I almost died, and the man who saved my life reminded me that success means nothing if you lose yourself achieving it. So I'm searching for my son, and if that makes me unfit to lead, then perhaps this company needs a different kind of leader anyway. Marcus watches from the back of the room, his heart in his throat. But I don't believe it does, Victoria continues. I believe a leader who knows loss can lead with compassion. A leader who's been broken can help others heal. A leader who's searching for connection can build a company that values people over profits. She pauses, looking directly at Marcus. Someone once told me you don't get stronger by avoiding grief. You get stronger by learning to carry it. So that's what I'm doing. Carrying my grief honestly. And if the board wants to remove me for that, I'll accept their decision, but I won't apologize for being human. The press conference explodes with questions, but Victoria simply walks off the stage, past the cameras, straight to Marcus. How did I do? She asks quietly. You were perfect. That afternoon, the board holds their vote. Marcus waits outside the boardroom, pacing like an expectant father. An hour passes, then another. Finally, the door opens. Victoria emerges, and her face tells him everything. They voted to keep me, 9-3. Marcus exhales relief. Thank God. Richard resigned, said he couldn't work for a company led by sentiment. Victoria smiles wryly. I wished him well. They walk to her office in silence. Once inside, Victoria closes the door and turns to Marcus. I got a call this morning, before the press conference. Marcus's heart skips. From who? A young man named Lucas Chen. He saw my adoption registry submission last month. He's been trying to work up the courage to respond. Then he saw the press conference announcement and decided it was a sign. Tears spring to Marcus's eyes. Victoria. He wants to meet me this weekend. He's flying in from Portland. Victoria's voice shakes. Marcus, I'm terrified. Marcus pulls her close. You're also brave, and you're not doing this alone. She looks up at him. Will you be there? When will I meet him? If you want me there, I'll be there. I want you there. I want Leo there. I want the family I'm building now to meet the family I lost. Family. The word hangs between them, full of promise. That Saturday, they meet Lucas at a quiet cafe. He's 25, tall, with Victoria's eyes and a gentle smile. The reunion is tearful, awkward, beautiful. Lucas brings his adoptive parents, who hug Victoria and thank her for the sacrifice she made. Leo and Lucas bond immediately over video games. Marcus watches Victoria watch her son, sees 26 years of grief finally, slowly begin to heal. It's not perfect. There's no fairy tale ending. Lucas lives in Portland with a life of his own. But there are phone calls now, video chats, plans for Thanksgiving. There's a connection, and that's everything. 6 months later, Marcus and Victoria stand on the rooftop of Chen Technologies at sunset. The city glows beneath them, transformed by twilight into something magical. "I never thanked you properly," Victoria says. "For what?" "For showing me that saving a life isn't just about CPR, it's about helping someone remember why life is worth living." Marcus takes her hand. "You did the same for me." They kiss as the sun sets. Two broken people who found each other in the most unexpected way, who built something real from shared grief and honest hope. Below them, the city pulses with a million stories. But this one, their story, feels like the beginning of something rare and precious. Not a rescue, not a transaction, just two people choosing each other again and again, one day at a time, and that's more than enough. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.